really love to write for theater, for cinemas, because I really love to picture things with the music.
It was a pleasure to connect with today's guest for the podcast. I met him for the first time in Lucca, Italy in 2018. What an interesting artist. Great albums that he's put out over the years, and just super cool person. I'm Jason Heath. This is Contrabass Conversations. We are chatting today with Giovanni Sanguineti, who lives in Italy on the coast. Sounds like a beautiful part of Italy. I need to go and visit. And we talk about all sorts of things. We start off by talking about a past podcast guest, Danny Ziemann. Giovanni was taking a course, or maybe not exactly taking a course, but going through a workshop with Danny. And Giovanni's really obsessed with learning and growing as a player, which I find very inspiring. We talk about all kinds of things about personal development on the bass as a musician, including Dennis Whittaker's new series, Incredibly Useful Exercises for Double Bass, which I've been going through and filming all the volumes of. That's been a lot of fun. We also talk about us hanging out in Lucca, Giovanni's latest album, Remember the Future, how he's been handling the pandemic, and his very interesting visual approach to composition. I know you'll enjoy this. And without further ado, here is Giovanni Sanguineti.
The last 3 days, we were connected with Danny Ziemann. That he did the 3 days. He called the first call bass player, and kind of a very short an hour and a half for each day meeting. Mm-hmm. And there were bass players or anywhere, bass lovers from Singapore and from Australia. So maybe it was very, very late for them, or very, very early. I don't know. But they wait a lot for get bed, or they wake up very early, because he is in Vienna. That's the fact. He is in Vienna. So it's less than an hour from my hometown, Genova, more or less the same hour, just 50 minutes delay.
Okay.
But there were people all around the world, and it was very fun, because the first day we were more or less 300 people connected, and surprisingly the connection was very good. Just yesterday there was, maybe for the bad weather, a storm, and something was a little tricky, but it's been very, very good. Danny is a great teacher. He's a great bass lover, is a great communicator, and a very good, how can I say, he makes you love again the bass and our role and our music, especially for jazz players, but not only. There were electric bass players, classical guys, and so on. So
yeah. That's
great
so
experience.
Cool. Oh, that's so cool that you've been doing that. I mean, I really love what he does, and the way that he's such a positive guy, and then he's got such a great way of laying out concepts. And the first time I met Danny was actually Bass Europe in 2016 in Prague. He was. Hey! Oh, there we go.
Some publicity, some spots from some commercial for a dear friend. Well, this is a book, topic, harmony, that I know him from you, man.
Oh, that's right. Hey, look at this. We'll give him some more. I've got his book, The Lowdown, right here behind me.
And this is all the papers of this 3 days, but plus, where is it? Well, in the 100 stuff I have there's also your book.
Oh, get out of here. That is hilarious. Wow. What a small world.
Well, it's great. It's a great thing to collect all this stuff from people directly, because, yes, I have the Ray Brown. I met him a couple of times, but it's not the same thing. I mean, I really love to, meet in person Rufus Reid to ask him something about his books and about his records. And, Mr. Bottesini and Mr. Billet, that they are the books that where I studied from. Is very difficult to find them instead of a kind of, how can I say, with the Ouija board.
Oh yeah, Ouija board. Yeah. Wow. I'm the same way. I love collecting, especially if it's somebody that I know. I've been working through a great book called Incredibly Useful Exercises for Double Bass.
I saw the video. I saw the connection in the YouTube channel, and I don't remember, excuse me, the name of the guy, but it makes the things very, very easy to be rehearsal, to be proceed, and to be practice on the bass, and I love him. How many volumes there? 17 or something.
It's interesting. Yeah, Dennis Whittaker is the name of the guy who's doing it. Great guy. He's been a friend for years and teaches in Houston, Texas. And yeah, this is volume 17, which it's an interesting way he arranged it. The whole idea is to have like all these different practice routines that are targeted towards a specific thing. So this book is a compilation of all the exercises, but I also want to get some of the individual ones, because they take you through. This is like everything, but the individuals are targeted towards like shifting development or bow development. But he's such a clear teacher. He's a fabulous player too.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah, so it's really interesting.
Danny, more or less, Danny is on the same vibe about making things, being, they look like they are very easy for each level of student. Sometimes they're not, because I don't have a very good practice with the bow. I know I can grow a lot, but in that way, how he shows the things, it comes a little bit easier to approach to all those stuffs about for example, chromatic stuff and the upper side of the neck of the fingerboard, and then going down, it asks me to be to walk like much more the elephant, very, very with slowly and step by step.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. You and I met in person.
Met in Lucca
2 years ago. Yeah. That was such a great time. I had such a great. Yeah. It was so fun. My first trip to Italy, and boy, was that a hot week. Do you remember the temperature that week? It was just unbelievable.
Yes. But Lucca actually is very. There is Pisa and Lucca, and that. Those towns, they are in a kind of in the bottom of two valleys, so it's very damp. And when in the long summer, it takes the temperature to grow a lot. So you cannot breathe. Even if sometimes it's much more. It's a little windy, and that helps you to breathe. But that week was incredible. That week was very, very hot.
I was trying to wake up and walk around that wall in the morning, because like the one moment, like right at sunrise, where
I was taking some walk, or very late or very early in the morning, and even the water in the shower was not very, very fresh. I don't know why. I don't know how many gelatos I had that week.
I had a lot more gelato than usual. I remember that too. Yeah, there was because on a hot day like that, that food was invented for just quenching, the palate. Where are you in? Where do you live right now?
I live in Genova, which is in the northwest northwest of Italy, is where Italy take the turn getting to France.
Okay.
We are my region is colliding to France.
Okay.
And to France actually, and it's an hour 15 far from Lucca by car, and not very far. Was very easy to get there. But Genoa is very how can I say, it's very good to go to Turin, to Milan, not very far from Bologna, from those towns where you can find more, not nowadays, but easily find some gigs to play. And it's more or less, well, let me say, only 5 hours from Rome. And it's a great town, and it's a very jazzy town, because we own the older jazz club in Italy called the Louisiana Jazz Clubs, and there are a lot. There's been a great school in Genova, and Mr. Dado Moroni, Mr. Andrea Pozza, Mr. Luca Piconia, Mr. Aldo Zunino, Luciano Milanese, Piero Leveratto. They are big names in the Italian and not only Italian jazz world. Actually, I was very surprised to meet you in person that day.
Oh yeah, really?
Because yes, it's like when you're you can go on backstage in a concert and can easily find the rock star or the musician you love, and take share some words and maybe an autograph. And now we can do selfies and so on. But it's been an amazing week. My gig with the trio has been very, very good, very well appreciated. And, I bought a lot of books there. Yeah. And I share a lot of music. I brought a lot of CDs, and I was very, very keen on and to let the people know my music.
Well, I love your music. I love your playing. I love what you've been doing recently too, with the recent album. So it's really just outstanding. It was great to meet you too. That's what I love about events like that. It's just so cool to and boy, I need to go back to Italy. Right as we're talking right this moment. Probably not the best time, but in a year or two, I got to make another trip. There was, I spent some time in Rome and Florence and then Lucca, but I didn't explore. But Bologna and Milan and everything.
Florence, Rome, Venice, my hometown, Genova is beautiful. It's beautiful. Naples, Palermo is it? Well, Italy, where it's very sad to say that we are not the first. I mean, we are the first not to believing in our strength. In the strength of our country, in terms of art, in terms of culture, in terms of architectures, in terms of music, in terms of history, in terms of, if you talk with people like me that is fallen in love very deeply in music. My grandfather was a painter. My parents, they were deep into music, even if they were doing different jobs and so on. And it's very easy for me to list all these things. The sad thing is that the political class is not. They seems that they not believe in that. They they wear different masks as always, as everywhere in the world. And along this last 2 months, the Minister of the Culture told a lot of things about all those people who are doing my job, our job, and all the things that are related with this job: technicians, photographers, sound guys, actors, dancers, trainer of dancers, of vocal teachers, and so on. But what we say is like a rubber wall. Do you understand?
Yes.
that where things,
bounce off.
Exactly. It's like talking with a deaf man. It's like and it's the worst thing because the mask say yes, you're right, but the action is not fitting with the words.
It's so troubling, to watch and just think about. And I was talking to a friend of mine named Derek Jones, who plays Cirque du Soleil's show Ka in Las Vegas. So, thousands of people, 2 shows a night. They've been doing it for 13 years. So they're shut down. And I mean, I did a tour of that place a couple of years ago. And I mean, just the number of people that just that one show employs, it's such a tremendous chunk. Or here in San Francisco too, the same thing, certainly where you're at. It's incredible. So we'll see how things, how are things right now, in Italy or where you're at? Is it, because I know you couldn't leave your house for a while even, right? If I remember.
Oh, yes. Now they are 2 weeks that the lockdown turn into something little closer to what they call normal life. And people can go around, can go to job, can do gym outside, outwork, working out and so on. You can go to the beach and so on, but you have to keep the right distance, which is a meter or 2 meters far from the others, and you got to wear, the mask. After that, I see people that is living this period of opening. Let me say to going back into kind of much more similar to normal life, very, very quick. If it's not for the distance and for the things that you have to wash your hands very, very often, and I know I cannot see a great difference from the past. I mean, I see the same things that I ate and the same thing that I love going on. And my life actually didn't change very, very much from the quarantine to now or before, because I was I live in a suburb. Let me say, kind of like Manhattan, and it's like the center of the town is like Manhattan. I live in more or less like Harlem. Let me say more or less this distance, and I have 4 stops with the tube to get in the main square in Genova. In the main square, there's the big theater where I teach, and in 15 minutes I'm there. And actually, my past life, and with past life I mean the before the quarantine, was to go outside for buying something here in the neighborhood, and some bread stuff and food and so on, and to go in downtown a couple of days a week for the classes, for the students, plus the gigs, more or less in the weekend or around the weekend. So my life didn't change very much. I mean, excuse me. I did my classes online, the most of them. I had some different kind of job to work on. I wrote a lot, and I began to bring again books for studying. And actually, if I have to say, the truth, my life didn't change so much, except for the economical side of my life, that actually is is in big trouble now. To be sincere, luckily, as many other as many other musicians, they say. Luckily, my wife is working.
Me too.
And
We both thank you to our wives.
And she's working from home, of course, and everything is actually turned into a much more how can I say, working on engine between the two of us, instead of meeting only early in the morning, have a call in the middle of the day, and meet again for lunch, for dinner, excuse me. And then now we have much more way to talk about things, about the weather, about the coronavirus, and friends, and so on, our families. I have a big family. I have nephews, brothers, sisters, and so on. So the phone calls are, one of the things that every day you got to do to know if your father is going well, and so on. But and luckily, again, I have a little garden, so I don't have to spend all the hours in the flat, in our apartment. We have this oasis to go on, to go where and breathe, to feed the plants, and we have 2 dogs. And actually, I thanks this quarantine, because it gave me the time and the chance to pick up again some books and some practice, some daily practice that in the past life I was, you are involved in a different way, and so I was, it took me to fix that in the calendar, and that day I have to do that. Instead, in these weeks, I really have, a big chance of keeping again this kind of things again, and to play, much more precisely, with no time, with no clock to look at and say, well, you have to do that, you have to do that, you have to do that. And I wrote a lot. I wrote is one of my routines is writing at least 12 bars a day. Yes, and or if I don't have time to sing in the recorder of the telephone, it's one of my practice. I do it very, very often, and I developed a lot of ideas in these days, and I wrote 12 good themes and something else to work on, to be much more defined, and much more organized for a trio or for a quartet.
I love that you make yourself do that every day. I always find it interesting how people kind of hold themselves accountable for creativity. Like I have certain routines I do. I don't really compose, but I create things, and so it's I just find that really interesting how so you're either sitting down and writing, or you're singing into the phone, or something like that every day.
Yes, it's been since I was very, very young. I used to whisper, and that's we're growing in my musical culture, and being a musician and so on, and still working on my music, still working on composition, still studying composition, still studying on bass and so on, and trying to play the piano. If somebody asks me, can you play the piano, I say, not really. I use the piano for my writing. I cannot really say that I can play the piano, but it's enough for me. And that's, came much more easily for me to find a bunch of ideas. Then from then I used to, select those that runs, that swings, those that, are stable in their own feet by their own selves, and something else is good, but you have to help them to stand up easily on their own way. And then in the practice of doing every I say every day, but in the normal life it was every couple of days I was writing down what I was recording on the telephone. And a lot of stuff of my last couple of records come from this way of working. Yeah.
Such a great way to collect that sort of stuff, because I mean that's like one of the great benefits of having that phone with you, right? Is because all of a sudden you can. I was talking to my friend Andres Martin, Argentinian composer, lives in Mexico, and he captures ideas in a lot of different ways. But one of them is that taking the phone and just when inspiration strikes, you just sing those bars into the phone.
Well, I have a notebook like this.
Mm-hmm.
Near my bed, here in my room where I study, where I write, where I think, and another one is always with me, because I have to collect things to take some notes about what I see, because one of the things that I believe that distinguish myself to some others, but with this I don't want to to figure myself bigger or higher than I really am, but is to collect the great number of titles as possible. And I really start from titles. I really start from names, and then I try to describe with music what those names they are, reminding me. And especially in the last album, see a lot of this working taking place, and embody the real, how can I say, the real describing of things with the music. And the last one, more or less, was in the same way, but there's been some engine and some wheels going on, much more mathematical or much more related to the real composition. The ideas, they came from my own modus operandi, but this one that is called "Remember the Future," and is a very actual, how can I say, name for the record. And I did this way, this kind of working very, very often, and it works. Then working on music is not easier, but I really have to work on ideas very well defined. I really love to write for theater, for cinemas, because I really love to picture things with the music, And Dawn, for example, the first song of the last album was exactly describing, in my point of view, of course, the first spark of light, from horizon, and then the development of the sphere of the sun growing, and the very last of that album song was Sunset Waltz, and it was again the describing of the sun that's going down, and I like to work in this way. Kind of like a kind of director, like for a movie, for a short movie or whatever. Yeah, I like to describe things with the images. That's why when on my gigs, I like to tell to the people how those songs, those tunes are born, and what I thought about when I was writing them, and asking them to, for example, to close their eyes and to listen to. I remember that in Lucca, maybe I'm stealing time for the interview or for what you were, what you would like to go somewhere.
No, this is great. No, this is exactly.
Okay. So
Please.
I remember that in Lucca we were performing a song that is called L'Aliante, that is the glider in English. And I ask every time I play that, I ask to the people to close their eye and just listen to the music. And then at the end of the gig, a lot of people they come and they say, well, I exactly felt like we were, taking off and landing again on the ground. And I love this part of the music. And I love the people that say, I don't understand nothing about music, but you gave me all these kind of feelings of this kind of ideas of my youth, for example, of my past, of my children, of my parents, of my my love, my past loves, and so on.
I love that that's how you approach it. That's so cool. Do you when you were younger, or maybe even now, did you associate in your mind pieces of music that you love? Did you like see images? Because I know that
yes,
when I was younger,
definitely.
for me, oh really? Okay, cool. Wow.
Definitely. Yeah, I believe that everyone have his own soundtrack of his own life. And I have to say that I've been very lucky, because I'm the fourth of brothers and sisters. I have a brother and two sisters older than me. So like a sponge, I was listening to everything they were listening to. My parents, my father is a fan of blues guitar, rock blues guitar, like Clapton, of course, but Johnny Winter, Howlin' Wolf, these kind of guys. And my mother was much more related to classical music. And the radio was every day on from early in the morning to more or less the time to go to bed. And my sister, they were listening to those days disco music, that was played. Actually, there were bands playing, and the other sister was much more selection about Italian music songwriters, plus some Bob Dylan's, John Betts, and this kind of guy. My brother, in opposite, was much more related to heavy rock. So my very first likes, they were I was picking up from all these worlds something. And while my schoolmates, they were singing the song of the cartoons, I was already singing Message in a Bottle, Don't Stand So Close to Me. The police really changed my life from this to this. And it's where I discovered the electric bass, and I really asked to my brothers, what is this thing? What is this thing that does boom, 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 boom? Well, what kind of guitar? What kind of instrument is it? And they told me, well, this is the bass guitar. You see this picture, and this guy with the 4-string instrument. This is the bass. I want to learn about that. And when I finished the elementary school, I was 10. My parents, they asked me, what you want to do? We want to do something special for this, for this big step from elementary school to the middle school. And I asked them, I'd like to learn an instrument. I like to play this kind of 4-string guitar. And luckily for me, again, there was a friend of my brother's that was playing bass those days, and I took my very first lesson with this guy, and that, to my eyes of those years, it was something like a master of music, of strings and stuff, and he began to teach me a lot of things, and not only the instrument. I met people like Weather Report, John Patitucci, Solo Life, and some other great players or groups from this guy, and that's really took my discography and the inner discography wider than ever. And so the more I was listening to, the more I was trying to repeat with the bass, with the so-and-so results, but something's good was out of the cylinder, like the rabbit from the magician. And then at I think I was 18 years old when I split to the upright bass, because a closer friend of mine, a piano player, was asking me to join a band of traditional jazz, Dixieland band. We don't have the bass player. We are 8 pieces between trumpets and trombones and clarinets and piano, banjo. This is a cassette with the stuff we play. Try to do that. And I was a little embarrassed because I never had an upright bass on my hands, but it was another touch of the faith, I think. I don't know. And after Sting with the Police, that cassette brought me to have in my hands the very first time a double bass, and that's changed again. It in my life took a very deep turn, because I asked to myself, well, this is the time to find a real teacher, and to hit the nail for maybe for the first time, because I remember that studying music while I was studying for school was very hard. Then that took me to just to learn songs by ears. That is very good for now, but I was not really studying in those years. After that, I really decided to find a teacher. And again, I have to be thankful to my own town, because there were a lot of very good teachers, and a suggestion was fall on Aldo Zunino, and that I really thank. I will be very thankful for the rest of my life, because it made me grow like a musician, of course, like a bass player, but it taught me a lot about being a human being in the music business. So with the sharks that they are in our oceans, and the island where you can have your rest and so on, not trusting too much into something, not trusting too much into people. And he's been a great teacher for music, a great teacher for bass, but a very great teacher for the parallel life of the musician and the man, And then with him, I began to listen to a lot of records, from Coltrane to Red Garland Trio. That means Paul Chambers and Sam Jones and Ray Brown and Wilbur Ware, what we call the old school now, and but that's the the bottom of the building of my music, of my playing. Actually, I love to play, to try to play like them. I dedicated my very first record in 2008 to Leroy Vinegar, which is one of my pillar of my playing, and the record is called Hard to Find, but it's very easy to find on Amazon.
Nice. That's cool.
And is a collection of tunes written by Leroy Vinegar or taken from his own records. And I did that record with Ed Thigpen on drums.
Wow, cool.
And and David Hazeltine on piano. With David Hazeltine, we did a couple of tours before, then we did that experience, and then another record years after, dedicated to Benny Golson, called Along Came a Benny. In between, there been another record called Mindfulness, which I did with my those days trio, and with Grant Stewart on saxophone, on tenor saxophone. And from the days of the records, going back, I did a lot of stuff. I did a lot of workshops. I did many workshops with Buster Williams here in Genova and in New York. I've been guested by him, and then actually with another Italian teacher. This is Paolino Dalla Porta. Maybe you don't know, but is a great name here in Italy. He played also with Pat Metheny, and so it's a very good teacher. And I had a 2 years long course in Siena, which was based on the trio. Was called Trio Incontri. That means meeting the trio. And it was a 2 years long course with just 10 trios. So that means 10 bass players, 10 drummers, and 10 piano players, working on with the trio of Stefano Battaglia, which is one of the main Italian pianists of today, of the modern jazz, actually. And after that, I began to play with Italian guys, American guys, especially with Patty Weeks. I did I don't know how many tours and 5 records. Then I met many people. I've been in New York just to to see the world, to taste the world of the jazz world. Actually, it has been again another turning point to visit New York for the first, the second, the third, and the fourth time, and so on. And every time there was something to discover. That's where I met Grant, for example, and some other guys like Jeremy Pelt, like Rick Germanson, the same David Hazeltine, and so on. So.
Wow. Yeah, New York is there's no place like that for jazz. I mean, it's an incredible.
No, it's like Mecca for Muslim. I don't want to be offend. I don't want to offend, but exactly like that. If you want to have a real taste for, it's like going in Switzerland and tasting chocolate. It's like going in Asia and tasting rice or their own sushi in Japan. Is very different from the sushi in Europe. You can taste the real thing, and New York did this to me, to my brain, to my feeling, and it's been a very important step to go there. It's been a very sad step to come back, but it got me a lot of strength to proceed, to go on.
Mm-hmm. It's musically, it's such a fascinating. I was there in 2018 in the fall. I just did, I've been there many times, but that was the most recent. I did a week of interviews and I went to concerts, and it's the only place in the United States I found where you can be out at midnight or 1 a.m. and there's all this activity. Here in San Francisco, it's a ghost town, and so many other places in the world too. Not every, it's really special.
Not only jazz, Dan, because there were a lot of if you open the newspaper, there are pages and pages of ballet, classical music, quartet, or the musicals. When I've been to New York, actually, I don't know for Europe, maybe England, but not at all. Italy was very, there were the culture of the musical so wide as it now, made just for some operas written by Garinei and Giovannini, which are the more or less the Rogers and Hart of Italy, and I've been in Broadway, and we saw Wicked, we saw The Producers, Lion King, and the production was really amazing. The dancers, the singers, the music, everything was, and it's surprising. Everything is surprising in that town, and whatever you are interested to. If you are interested on sports, if you're interested in architectures, if you like history, if you like, is a must. If you are a musician, New York is a must, I think.
Yeah, it's that's for sure. It's great. Well, I got to say, going to Italy, and I can't wait to explore more. But that's something that we in the United States just don't have that history going back. Whether it was Lucca or Florence or Rome or Bologna or anywhere. It's that the richness of just the artistic traditions, musical, food, architecture, everything. It's just that was such an incredible experience a couple of years ago. I can't wait to spend some more time and explore more of the country.
That's what I meant at the beginning of our meeting. Mm-hmm. Wherever you go, you can find a bridge, a building, church, a lot of church, mm-hmm. or that. More or less, they are from medieval areas and so on, and sometimes it's too much. How you say too sweet to bear?
Yeah,
is it
sure.
right?
Yeah, that's a great. Yeah, that's the phrase. Yeah, I can see that.
I can see that. Rome, only Rome or Florence. Wherever you turn your eyes, there's something to visit.
Yeah, it's crazy. And just the amount of tradition. Going into so many of these churches that I would go into, and you're seeing things from the Renaissance, then you're seeing things from the medieval times. It's just it's unbelievable. And we just don't have that. We have a lot of exciting things, but the oldest anything like here in San Francisco, there's nothing really before. Well, certainly 1850 would be the earliest, architecturally, really.
What is I really love in the United States is the nature. For example, the trees in Maine, the Grand Canyon, rivers. That's kind of almost infinite space. It's incredible. I really love to come back to US and visit not only big towns, San Francisco. I'd love to be in San Francisco. It captured my curiosity, and but the nature is amazing. I think that is amazing. Also, the desert sides of or the south of the United States, the Bayou, the Louisiana, Georgia, those areas. They are very. I believe they are very interesting and very capturing.
Yeah. And there's so many parts of this country that are so deserted, so few people. My wife is from New Mexico, and you have these beautiful, there's just a few million people that live in the entire state. And it's this huge, you'll drive and there's just, and these painted landscapes, and it's very inspiring. Something that I love about San Francisco is it's a big city, but you are in nature almost immediately. And within the city has a lot of nature. So that's something that I've found particularly inspiring. It's a place that you would certainly feel right at home at because it looks so much like Italy. I mean, it's hilarious.
Oh, wow. Well, I think I believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Yeah. Our Mediterranean climate,
So, I wait for you. Well, there's Adam Booker has been here last winter, I think.
Oh, wow! Cool.
So I think he did a record or something, but he had also a couple of gigs there in Lucca again, and we didn't met, but we wrote each other. Oh, there's your wife there. Hi. And I believe this is your wife.
Yes,
Excuse me.
Is. No, you're correct. You're correct.
And so, well, when the time will be again on us, permitted to move easily than now, and
well, soon,
we're waiting for you.
Hopefully sooner rather than later. And we'll all be looking back at 2020 and thinking, wow, how did we all get through that? But I appreciate what you do and your music and your journey. And I'd love to, I realize how big the world of bass and the world of music is. And there's so much, I'm so unfamiliar with so many of the I've been taking notes as we've been going. So I've got some people to listen to and get more into the Italian jazz, like what history and what's been going on. And I would love to come to your part of the country and explore. So let's spend some time together. Once gigs start happening again, I'd love to check out one of your gigs, and I love how you take people through this visual journey too with your music. So I think that's really cool.
Thank you. Well, in a normal summer, for example, there are a lot of music along the let me say the boot, our country, and not only jazz. There's a lot of classical music, popular music, but with popular, I mean exactly popular, world music, and in the music from all the Mediterranean Sea area. Especially in the south of Italy, there's the Taranta Festival in Puglia, which is an amazing festival of the Taranta. The Taranta is a rhythm, and for example, in the zone of the Alps, of the mountain Alps, you can easily find a concert at the dawn, what they call concert at the dawn. And there are especially classical groups that play at the very dawn, of the day, at the very beginning of the day, and then you can have a little branch together with the musicians, and then your day start in a different way. Then you can have your walk on the mountains. You can rest in your bed or whatever you want to do, you do it. And here on the coast where I live, there are a lot of a lot of festival, a lot of theater, an outdoor theater with dialects theater, and or classical theater or ballet, and it's amazing. I think that we are this summer will be lost for the main part. I think there are some very brave people that are still or already or again fighting to move the engine, to keep the engine going on with the culture in the wider meaning of the term, from presentation of new books, new records, new project for dancing, everything that can be named or listed into culture.
Well, it'll
bands of the army or of the navy, and there are a lot of stuff.
Well, hopefully, more and more in Italy over here.
Plus the nature, because excuse me, some festivals are based, for example, on food, and there's also music, or the wine festival also book concerts, or they are organized together to present the wine and the music together. So,
well, it'll be. I'm looking forward to seeing things opening up. Where I live, certainly where you live, and we'll all be remembering this in a couple of years, and back to playing gigs and and it's great to hear that you're getting through this, and you seem to be staying creative. And I know it's challenging for everybody, challenging for me, but I love that you've got that outdoor space. I got to tell you, we moved right before the pandemic, and we have an outdoor garden too. And I don't know what I would do without that space now. I go out and I take care of the plants, and I sit out there, have a little sandwich, and it's like just that little bit. If I was in our old place, no dark, very dark, no outdoor space, and that's made all the difference for me, just staying mentally balanced.
Yes, I can understand very, very well. And the picture of the oasis was not taken, by case. You see that?
Yes, yeah. I know what you're saying. Yeah.
And for us, it's been very, very important to have that space outside, because we have friends that live in buildings with they have the windows, of course, but a window is not breathing, it's not going out. In the weeks of the real lockdown, was very hard. I believe that people was going crazy, being in the four walls for weeks, and maybe I could be one of them. I don't know, and I don't want to know. It's been an experience where to tell and to talk about for time, because I really think that we in the bad moment we had the chance to understand what was working and what was working not, and what we can do to get things better for each one of us. And I think I did, going back to bringing up books and stuff, to studying and practicing again. And but widely, I don't know. I'm still believing in human beings. I mean, in mankind. But so I don't want to think that we are losing, maybe again, the chance of changing things. not only raising up the voice or screaming or yelling or going down in squares. And actually, of course, nowadays in the US, there's a situation very I don't know if it's the right word, but it's very delicate.
Yeah, right. We've been having rioting and buildings on fire and smashing.
Yes, where the balancing of the scale of being white, of being black, of being of living in a certain neighborhood in a certain town might be difficult, might be and I don't know if I understand in the real trouble. I understand other troubles of my neighborhood, of Italy, of living in a small town or in a big town, or living in the country. But I believe that in U.S. now are working on a razor's edge between what we call normal life and this. How can I say? A time of chaos that can help the rising of old ideas that we know very well. And those old ideas that I'm referring to are actually ideas where the poor, the weak, where even me and you, that we are not doing a job that is considered very important for the engine of the society, can work in this pathway,
It's troubling, It's like, and it's so easy to worry about all these things. There are two things that I try to that give me some hope. One is, and it's exposing a lot of things, good and bad, and we'll see. If we look historically, a lot of the time, after moments like this, there's a cultural flourishing, and if we can think of it many times in the history. And then for me personally, I just try to think what I can do that I do have control over, and whether it's like writing 12 bars a day like you're doing, or I can't control so many things, but I can get out and go for a run and doing something creative and reach out and try to help other people as best I can. And so it's tough to try to keep a long view and focus on what I can control, and try to not watch the news any more than I have to, because every time I turn it on, it's like everything's getting a little bit worse. But I know if I zoom out, I think I also believe in humankind and our resilience, and changes a part of life, and there are so many things that should change for the better. So hopefully, as I'm watching my city getting looted and fires and all that sort of stuff, I'm just trying to keep those two things in mind personally.
Yes, exactly. It's a matter of let's say resist. Mm-hmm. But there's a way. There are different ways of resist to things. To a day by day. Maybe I don't know the day by day. I know. When things like this happens, I think I'm very lucky. And it's not that nowadays in Italy the going on life is easy, because of a lot of people are losing their work, their job, shops are closing, I always have the hope that there will be someone that will do something in the righteous way. That in the righteous way, I mean, without looking at the business of everything in everything. There were a writer, and a famous writer here in Italy, that weeks ago has been interviewed, and he said he was telling a little story that he was on the train, and there were a girl with the cello, and an old man close to her was asking her about the cello, with what kind of instrument is it, or what you do, how you learn, from how long you play this instrument, and so on. And then this old man asked to the girl, but where is the business? And I don't know what she answers. And the writer who told the story to the audience didn't tell about the answers. But this was an example of how the culture itself, as it was saying before, is you must to be a part of the business. If you do the business, if you earn a lot, whatever you're doing, you are a winner. Whatever you do. If you do it for passion and you don't earn enough for being rich, maybe you are happy and you are okay with you're okay with your own day-by-day life. But to the eyes of the others, I don't know. That is, I believe that is all over the world. When someone asks you what you do for life, for living, I'm a musician. Okay, but what's your job? I'm a musician. Okay, but what's your job? I'm a musician. Okay, but what's your job? And but I love Italy. I love Italy. I love my own town. I love Genova. I love my people. I love everything. Even the bad sides of the nation and of our spirits, of being Italian, of being the south of Italy, the middle of Italy, and the north of Italy. But one thing that I really remember, and I always tell this to my students or in situations like this, was that I was in France. I've been in everywhere with the bass, and people was looking at me like like a doctor with his bag, or like a normal people that is bringing his tool for job somewhere. And here in Italy, hey mom, look at what a big guitar. What is there at the trombone? This kind of ignorance is the ignorance that is ruining the world, man. And is not only the ignorance, because people, I don't know a lot of things, but I question, I ask, if you don't teach to the people that one is a bass, it's a double bass, which is in the family of the bows in an orchestra and so on. And he does this thing together with the cellos. This is his smaller brother and the violin and so on. Yeah. I don't know if it's called in America or anywhere in English, the Prokofiev is a story with the Peter and the Wolf.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Peter is it called Peter and the Wolf?
Peter and the Wolf. That's what it's called. Yep.
Oh, okay. It's an amazing example of, teaching, showing some instruments to the world of the youth, to young guys, and this is a good example to say that if you leave the people in ignorance, if you don't stimulate them to ask, because there is more fizzing things in the question than in the answer. And that's what I really point the finger to my politicians, because kings in the ancient times, they were forbidding the writing, and here is the same thing, I don't want to look like a very common, but the television might be an incredible tool to enrich the people in their own mind. I remember when I was younger, in the late 70s, that there were a lot of on TV, there are a lot of things about nature, about theater, about comedians. They were okay, and then there were people that were talking about politics, about society, about economy, about money, about things, but the culture of those worlds were solid. The entertainment was solid. People was really dancing, they were able to dance, to sing, to make people laugh and make people cry. They were well prepared. They were, very high level skilled people. Now, I don't know. I believe that, talent shows, not every kind of music, but a lot of music is, keeping the level of the messages of how difficult it is to go on in a job like this, in a job like we do, or in acting, or in dancing, or in painting, or projecting things. You must be a lawyer or a dancer, maybe to be up, to be to be hip. You say
sure.
that?
Yeah, to be hip. Yeah,
be cool. To be,
It's interesting. Yeah.
Now we can go on for days about that. and maybe years ago, Europe and United States were very far from each other in this way. I mean, we were looking at United States like maybe at the beginning of the last century, a kind of place where you can really keep your dreams living on, and build something where you have you could be helped, and tools they can be given to you to grow, to realize your dreams, to realize keep alive your own project. And maybe you could be looking at Europe like really a kind of mother of the world culture, if you want. Maybe it's a big thing that I'm saying now, but actually I remember this kind of feeling when in the 80s, in the 90s. And maybe it was the spirit that I brought with me when I came the first times, 2 times in the United States. I don't know.
Yeah, no, well, I mean, I live in Little Italy, basically in San Francisco. So it's very funny to walk out and I see it. It's like, and we bring people over from Italy to actually work in some of the restaurants. I mean, it's interesting. So, it's just interesting to see that connection. These were all people who in the 19th century, came over and for possibility, so it's very interesting.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I don't know. Well, we will see. We will go through also to these times. We will have something to tell to our nephews.
We will definitely have that. That's for sure. Well, hey, let's have this be the first of many. This is we could talk. I have people on. I've had Danny Ziemann. Going back to Danny Ziemann, I think I've had him on the show 7 times now. So let's do a round 2 one of these days, and maybe it can be here in California if you make it out, or certainly in Italy the next time I make it out, or we can hop online just like this. But it's great to connect with you. Giovanni, thank you, sir. We'll do it again soon. Maybe over Zoom like we did, maybe in person. We will see. Thank you for listening. It's great to catch up with old friends and acquaintances and interesting people in the bass world. I would want to be doing this kind of thing anyway, and to be able to put it out in public like this is an added bonus. So I just feel so fortunate to have found the world of podcasting. It has been a lot of fun to me. It's been very good to me over the years. I feel very fortunate to be able to do this and do what I do. And even in this bizarre time where no music's happening really, or in any conventional way that we're used to, this is like a life preserver for me to be able to do something that feels at least quasi normal. But I will look forward to chatting with Giovanni and other folks in person in the future, hopefully sooner rather than later. I hope you're doing well wherever you are. I'm here in San Francisco staring out the same window that I've been staring out for the last going on half a year here, watching my garden slowly come up as I talk by myself into this microphone like a weirdo. But it's great to know that this actually does get out there into the world. And the way I know it does is when people share it on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, wherever, when they write and let me know they enjoyed the show or have a guest suggestion or a topic suggestion. I can't talk, but I'm going to just not edit. The way you can get in touch with me to do any of those things is feedback@contrabassconversations.com. The way to get on any of those social media platforms, besides just going on the platform and searching for Contrabass Conversations, is to go to our website, contrabassconversations.com. Why am I talking so fast? I have no idea. I haven't even had that much coffee today, but I love and appreciate you. Thanks for following along with this episode, any of the episodes you've listened to. Thanks for being on this journey. Super cool. Contrabass Conversations is produced by Michael Cooper, Steve Hinchy, Trevor Jones, Mitch Mooring, and Krista Copper. Mitch makes beautiful basses in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, just a couple hours east in Kilgore, Texas. Really inspiring person and award-winning luthier. Learn more at mitchmooring.com. And I am your host, Jason Heath, getting ready to see you again soon for, that's not my tagline. What's going on? That's okay. Getting ready. I can't even say it now. We'll see you soon for more life on the low end of the spectrum.